Welcome to Things Never Break. I'm Kale Vine. Okay, let's talk about it. So hi, I'm Kale, and this is my podcast. So if you guys know me from my social media, I have been online for, I want to say 4 years, and I have been through a lot, and I've been sharing my life online. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and love being a Canadian girly. I'm also a chronically ill girly. We are going to unpack all of that. That is what this podcast is for, and basically my story. And so my life turned out a lot different than I ever would have expected, and it terrified me. I became a disabled nurse when I was only 22 years old. I'm now 26, and this has changed my life in so many different ways, which is kind of how I ended up here. We will do a deep dive about all of this, but living with a disability is me. And honestly, I can't even remember what my life was before any of this. It honestly feels like a lifetime, and it's only been 4 years. So originally my content started from nursing, and nursing has always been my passion. So when I was in nursing school, I decided to film videos of just little tips and tricks that I've learned, or how to study for exams, or how to prepare for interviews and things like that. And that's kind of where all this started. And then when my initial injury happened to me, I kind of felt lost and alone, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And so I started creating TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube videos, just all about beauty. And it was kind of a distraction for me in a way that I didn't have to actually think about my reality and everything that was going on. And so it's like my world was just so much chaos. But then when I would sit down and film these types of videos, I just felt, I guess, less alone. Eventually, I started talking about what my real life is actually like, and stopped living in denial of what my reality was like. And so I've shifted everything to being an advocate for disability and just sharing my story and just making people feel seen and heard and validated. And I'm just so grateful for my life. I've been through a lot, and all I want to do is just help people and create a safe space. And so I love all things beauty, and I love getting dressed up, but I also deal with all this really heavy health stuff. And both of these things are equally real to me, and I refuse to pretend otherwise. And so when this first started happening to me, I kept looking for a podcast, a content creator, a platform, anything that would help me feel less alone and kind of understand what I'm going through. And so I couldn't find anybody that had a similar story as mine. And I never felt that I found anybody that talked about chronic illness honestly, and not clinically, and not toxic positivity, not here's your silver lining of all of this. And so there's conversations that I've wanted to have for a really long time that don't meet the 60-second format on social media. And I want to talk about the messy middle of being chronically ill. The appointments that go nowhere, the identity shift that no one warns you about, the grief of yourself that doesn't have a name. I want to talk about all of it. But I also want to talk about the joy, my beauty routine that makes me feel human, my dog Mila when she knows I'm having a bad day. I want to talk about that stuff too. So here's what's coming. There will be, solo episodes of where I just talk about my story, my personal healthcare experiences, the stuff that I've never really said out loud. I'm also going to get my fiance Nick to join me for an episode. And honestly, I'm nervous about it, but I think it's important to get his perspective, because when there is a life-altering event that happens, it doesn't just affect one person. And so I think it's an important conversation to have as well. So episode 1 will be dropping soon, and it's just the beginning of my story, the diagnosis, the minute the label landed and changed my direction on everything, just when everything shifted. I'm not going to be able to tell it all at once because it's a lot, and it's a lot of moving pieces, and it's still part of my journey. I'm still going through this, and truly it deserves to be more than one episode, but I specifically am making this because I want people to know that they're not alone. I want people to see the reality of what it's really like, because social media can be so toxic and can make things look like everything's good when in reality on the inside it's not. But here's the thing, this podcast isn't just mine. I want it to be yours too. I don't want to make it feel like I'm talking at you. I want it to feel like I'm talking with you. I want to know what's actually going on in our community and what people are going through, questions that people are too afraid to ask their doctors, and things that people can't say out loud to other people in their lives. So starting now, I'm going to be answering listener questions. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment, DM, email me, whatever, and let me know if you want me to speak about it on our podcast. If it resonates, if you have a question that you have never found the answer to, or if you just want to say something out loud and you want someone to hear it, do it. You can reach me on all my socials, which is at kalevine_, or you can visit my website, which is kalevine.com. Your questions are going to be what actually shaped this show, and I'm not just saying that. That's actually how this is going to work. And if you need support right now, I know a lot of people are listening and actively navigating this crazy, broken healthcare system, not just processing old stuff, but you're in it. I have been putting together a lot of resources on my website, and I have found different links, articles, things that I wish I had sent to me when I first got my diagnosis. I also have a free downloadable guide for appointment preparation, so if you're someone that really struggles with anxiety and just medical things in general, I think this would be a really good start for you. I have stuff about knowing your rights, how to actually feel heard in a doctor's office. I have scripts you can download if you feel dismissed. I have a medical binder download that you can organize all of your medical stuff in one place. It's actual practical stuff that I use and I created from my own experience. And so they're downloadable guides. You can use them directly on your digital devices, or you can print them out and write in it by hand. I made this for you. And I made it from someone who actually understands and actually uses these resources. So it's all available at kalevine.com, and it's always free to access my website. I'll also link it below. I also want you to know that I am not a doctor. I'm not giving any medical advice. It's just what I know from being a patient and what I have lived through and experienced, and just from talking to people who've been through this. And if you're someone who has been dismissed by doctors, or who feels like they're too much, or they're not sick enough, or whatever the narrative is, or just unheard in general, this is for you. If you love makeup and you love to cry in the shower sometimes, this is also for you. And I just want you to know that you're not alone in this, and this is the whole reason, the whole purpose of why this exists. So you can find me on all social platforms with my handle at @kalevine_, and you can find our new podcast, Things Never Break, on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. So remember to send your questions. Your story matters, and your questions will literally shape the future of our conversations in these episodes. Episode 1 is coming soon, and I'll see you there.